Congratulations, guys. You've gone through the introduction course to Go. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you learned a lot. We're going to go ahead and do a recap of this whole course just to make sure that you learned everything that you feel like you should have learned. If there's anything here that sounds unfamiliar, definitely look back and see what you could have missed. So let's go and switch over to the PowerPoint here, and let's go over some of the topics. So some of the topics you should have learned here in this class is how to get Go set up on your system. And learned a little bit about the Go environment. So the Go path, the workspace, those kind of things. Hopefully you've learned how to create just a simple hello world program. You should have been able to write that program, run it, and then actually compile it into a standalone binary. We went over variables, talked about zero values, talked about type inference. Let's go ahead and jump over here to the next slide. We went over just some of the basic types that those variables can be. So we went over the numeric types like integers, float 32, float 64. We went over complex numbers. We talked about booleans, strings, runes, and we also went over some of the operators that we can use with numbers to be able to manipulate them. And then we even went over type conversion, so how you can take a variable of one type, convert it into another type. Then we jumped into constants. You should understand that constants are similar to variables, but how they are immutable. And then there's just a little bit of nuances when it comes to actually instantiating how you can't use like the short syntax, the colon equals, when you're instantiating constants. We jumped over to the a little bit more complex stuff here with if statements, else ifs, the control flow statements, I should have said, ifs, else ifs, the else's, switches. Talked about loopings, all the different ways you can use for loops with like 3 statements or with range, or you could do an infinite loop if you wanted, if that was something that suited the needs of the program. We jumped over into functions, talked about how you can separate code, make it a little bit more reusable. You can return one or many arguments or one or many return values, and then talked about even how you can use the error type to be able to indicate that something went wrong, because there are no, you don't throw exceptions in Go. You return an error, and then the caller then checks the error to see if it exists or not. We jumped into packages, separated the code even more, and even showed you how you can pull in a third-party dependency. And we also went over arrays and slices, talked about how they are similar. They hold data in an organized way in like a single variable, but how slices are like an abstraction around an array so that you can have a variable length array. So congratulations, guys. Seriously, you have finished the class, and hopefully you've learned all those topics. Hopefully you really enjoyed it. We really hope to see you again. Some of the other things that I want to talk about here are the private tutoring sessions. And so if you feel like you've been struggling in any way, feel like you want to be able to just learn faster, check out the weekly and monthly plans that we have for private tutoring sessions. As well, you can go over software design and engineering in general, or you can go over more specific topics like Go programming language. Some of the other courses and next classes you can look into, we have the Hyperledger Fabric for developers and the Hyperledger Sawtooth for system administration. Check those out, see if those are some that you feel would be useful to put into your tool belt. There you have it. This is another tutorial with codingbootcamps.com. codingbootcamps.com. Follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, all the great places that you expect to see good content and good stuff. See you on the next class. Just a little plug for myself here is this probably isn't going to be the only course I'm going to be going over. So if you liked how I taught and thought that the class went well, definitely check me out on some of the other videos, and definitely check out some of the other instructors. There's some really great instructors and some really good content here on the site. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you again.